We finally got some more information about the upcoming Pokemon mobile game Pokemon Masters this week. We got a release date of summer 2019, which is actually very soon, and we learned that the game will take place in a brand new region where Pokemon trainers from all over the Pokemon world come in order to participate in a tournament. If you want to read up more about the game in case you missed some of the recent news, I'll leave a link to Cerebee's page in the description of this video where you can read more about it, but today I just want to discuss some of the trainers that I would love to make an appearance in Pokemon Masters, at least the trainers that weren't revealed yet. As of right now, we have a list of about 60 trainers which are in it, which is actually quite a lot. But seeing that this is a gacha game, it is very likely that over time we will have more Pokemon trainers added through some sort of in-game event or through some sort of loot box system, which I'm almost certain will be in the game. The first trainer that I would like to see make an appearance in Pokemon Masters is more of an obscure character, and that is Ryu Ki. Ryu Ki is a Dragon-type trainer from the Generation 7 Pokemon games who doesn't have very much plot significance despite having such a unique design. He appears in the Cantonian Gym in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as well, and he can even challenge you to a Pokemon League battle after you become the champion of the Alola region. Ryu Ki is a trainer that I would love to learn more about since he has such an interesting design, so an inclusion in Pokemon Masters would help a lot with that. I could see him having either his signature Turtonator or his Drampa as a sync Pokemon as well, both of which I think would fit very nicely. Next up, I think that AZ would make a great addition to Pokemon Masters as well. He would have his elusive signature Floette form that was never obtainable legitimately in the main series Pokemon games as his sync Pokemon most likely. I think much like Ryu Ki, AZ would be a fantastic addition for Masters as they are both newer trainers in the Pokemon universe, and it seems like we would have a lot of Kanto trainers that are already in the game since Kanto trainers tend to be the most popular and recognizable since they're the oldest. I could even see some crazy AZ event in Pokemon Masters that could involve the Ancient Machine in some way, shape, or form as well. Although we still don't know very much about the game and how the events will work in this game, seeing as every other mobile game that exists has some sort of in-game event mechanic, I'm sure it's safe to say that Pokemon Masters will also have some sort of similar event feature. As of right now, there's only a handful of Generation 2 trainers confirmed for Pokemon Masters such as Whitney, and out of all of the trainers we've discussed in this video so far, I think this Generation 2 trainer is the most likely character to be in Pokemon Masters, even though he was not confirmed to be in the game from the very start as of right now. This trainer is Morty, who happens to be my favorite gym leader of all time. Morty could have his signature Gengar as his sync Pokemon of course, and seeing as there aren't very many trainers in the Pokemon world who have Ghost Pokemon as their ace Pokemon, I think it'd be a very nice fit early on to add more type diversity into the game. And now we have another duo of characters since you can't exactly have one of these characters without at least including the other. I know I keep getting ahead of myself and talking about potential in-game events, even though we know absolutely nothing about how the events will work, but these next two characters have to be included with some sort of event because of their history in Pokemon. I'm talking about the evil team leaders Archie and Maxie from Ruby and Sapphire, since seeing them fight with their signature Groudon and Kyogre as their sync Pokemon would just be fantastic. I could see two different versions of each of these trainers as well being in Pokemon Masters, maybe one of the more normal or more common versions of Archie and Maxie, which have their Sharpedo or Camerupt as their sync Pokemon, and then a more rare or epic or legendary version of these characters that have Kyogre and Groudon, or even Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. There's tons of possibilities they can do with these two characters, as well as just about any other evil team leader in Pokemon, which I think would add a lot to the game, especially when it comes to events. Just imagine seeing an event logging into Pokemon Masters where Archie and Max try to take over the region and they bring their Kyogre and Groudon. I think that would just be so fantastic. Another Generation 3 trainer that I would love to see in this game would be Xenia. Now Xenia only appears in the remake games of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire in the post game, and she is another Dragon type trainer which we already have kind of a lot of in this game, but much like Archie and Maxie, I think she would be a fantastic addition to the game, having two different versions of her, one with her ace being her Salamence or Mega Salamence if they include Megas in this game, and another with her having a Rayquaza. I know that technically she never had Rayquaza on her team, but out of all the trainers in Pokemon, she seems to be the most fitting trainer to have a sought-after Pokemon like Rayquaza, and since Rayquaza is such a powerful legendary Pokemon, I'm sure they would want to include it in Masters in some way, shape, or form. I would also be ashamed to see Kyogre and Groudon in the game, but no Rayquaza. The next two characters I want to talk about are probably the least likely out of any character in this whole video to make into Masters, but I do still think that seeing Wes or Michael, the protagonist from the GameCube Shadow Pokemon games Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, would be very cool. We haven't seen anything about these trainers in well over 10 years since their games first came out on the GameCube, and assuming the games take place in the same world as the main series Pokemon games, just like the regions of Pokemon Ranger do despite being a spin-off series, then I think seeing them in Masters would be justified and it would make sense since they are part of the same Pokemon world. Wes could have his Sync Pokemon be either his signature Umbreon or Espeon, possibly both if that's possible, maybe we could have two different forms as well of him, and Michael from XD Gale of Darkness could have his Eevee. We probably won't see these guys in the game sadly, but I still think it would be a really cool addition to pay respect to the GameCube games, and if they do take place in the same region or same world as other Pokemon games, then I think at least it would make a lot of sense. Now this next character has not been confirmed for Masters as of recording this video, but I think it is extremely likely that he gets added to the game sometime in the future. That character of course is N, who is a fan favorite amongst Pokemon fans, unless you play the TCG maybe. He would have his Zoroark as his Sync Pokemon of course, and can maybe even come into the game alongside some other characters from the Generation 5 games, possibly Team Plasma as well. And once again, similar to what I was saying about Archie and Maxie, I could see N having more than one form, maybe one N that's more rare that has a Reshiram or Zekrom as his Sync Pokemon, and then the more common one having his signature Zoroark. They have to add Reshiram and Zekrom in some way, shape, or form somehow, and because of that reason I think it's very possible we can get multiple different forms of trainers, whether it be N or any other trainer, with different Sync Pokemon. And the final trainer I want to discuss for Pokemon Masters is Ash. This one doesn't make much sense since Ash is only an anime character and does not appear in any of the games, but seeing as he is arguably the most popular and most recognizable Pokemon trainer in all of Pokemon, I think it would be a really cool addition to draw in some more casual Pokemon fans who don't play the games as much but are familiar with the anime since Ash has been in the signature character of the anime for over 20 years now. He's a trainer that I could see players grinding a lot to get, since there's a lot that they could possibly do with him in this game. I'd love to see multiple different versions of Ash, maybe a different Ash for each region that he's been through so far, with maybe a Kalos version of Ash that has his Ash Greninja as a signature Sync Pokemon, or maybe even a different form of Ash that's from Kanto that has Squirtle from the Squirtle Squad as his signature Ace Pokemon. It doesn't make that much sense in the context of the game itself, but since Pokemon wants this game to be successful, I think having an anime character like Ash would be rather beneficial. And a few honorable mentions that I don't think would make too much sense, but would still be cool to see would be Yucine. Having him in the game with a Suicune would be very cool, would also be a very cool way to introduce Suicune. I think Wally would be cool as well. I think Wally's actually pretty likely to be in the game. Having him with the signature Gardevoir or Galar would be fantastic, and I wonder if they would include the old Wally or the new Oras Wally, which I personally like better. And those are just a few trainers that I would love to see in the upcoming Pokemon mobile game, Pokemon Masters. We already have over 60 confirmed trainers, which is quite a bit, but some characters, like the ones mentioned in this video, are still unconfirmed. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Pokemon Masters, as well as let me know what Pokemon trainers you want to see the most in Pokemon Masters that haven't been confirmed so far. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, have a great rest of your day, I will see you all next time, and bye bye.